Hooty hoo, all my stock market gamblers. Welcome today. I'm Tall Mike. I'm so glad you're here. What do we got going on? Well, they're still trying to push the market up, right? We're still in a topping pattern. Okay, so where are we at? I'd like to see that S&P get up to 5,800, 5,900, and I think that'd be a good range to start shorting the market. You see, we're almost 3 weeks in after the Fed has pivoted. Now, that's usually about where the bad stuff starts to happen. It'll be, 3 weeks on Wednesday, I guess it is. So that's where I'm looking. I hope that the S&P can get up to 58, 5,900, and I think that's worth taking a shot to the downside. The NASDAQ, I think they're trying to get a double top going. I don't think it'll get there. I think the NASDAQ's already peaked, and then I think it'll start to head lower. But the S&P might push it up a little higher still from here. That's just my take. I think that the market will come in. A lot of you think there's a crack up boom still coming. And maybe there is. That's not my take, though. I think the market's going to come in. All right, let's get over to some other things to talk about. We got a big election coming up, right? And I don't think we have any real quality choices to make. But what I see both candidates doing is they're trying to buy your vote with deficit spending, right? They're trying to buy your vote, saying they're going to give you all this stuff, going to give you 25,000 to buy a house, 50,000 to start a business, 60,000 to have a child. Look at, we don't have money to give away. So what they're doing is they're trying to buy your vote with deficit spending. You see, the deficit keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The deficit being money we spend that we don't have. Now, when was the last time we had a balanced budget? It's been over 30 years. Over 30 years. No wonder we keep going farther and farther into debt. Now, we think this is normal. We think there's no repercussion coming. Now, I'd beg to differ. I don't think there's a such thing as a free lunch, but a lot of people think that it's not a problem. 35 trillion, 50 trillion, 100 trillion, they don't really see it as a problem. Now, I see it as a huge problem. I see that in the last 4 years, I've lost 30% of my purchasing power, right? Lost 30%. It's not coming back, right? And I think the next 4 years, I'm going to lose 50% because they're continuing in this pattern of deficit spending. Now, I don't think any of these people should be allowed to be in office. Anyone that's spending money of ours, mine and yours, that they don't have, that they didn't earn, they go out and spend it, and they say it's not a problem. I see it as a big problem, and I think they should be kicked out of office, all of them. If you can't balance a budget, you should not be allowed to be in office. We want to vote people in that can balance the budget, okay? Now, Grant, we have a big problem. It's called the debt problem. This debt problem is going to create a lot of other problems in the economy. The main problem is the banking system. Now, people don't talk about the banking system anymore. We had those bank failures, Silicon Valley Bank and 4 other large ones, and we're going to have many more bank failures. And I actually think there's going to be what's called bail-ins, right? Not bailouts. Bailouts are where the government comes and they bail out the banks. Well, the government, they don't have any money to do it. FDIC spent their money already on Silicon Valley Bank, so they're going to have to start doing bail-ins. And that's why I tell people, only keep as much money in the bank as you're willing to lose, right? Because you may have 100,000 in there. And then you wake up the next day and you only have 50,000. You go, what happened? I mean, people at B of A, they woke up and they had $0 in their accounts. All their accounts went to zero. It's just a static glitch is what I think they called it. Anyways, you're going to have a static glitch, but this time it's going to be real. Your 100,000 got bailed in. It's now 50,000. Now I say, but Mike, that can't happen. We're the United States. Look, it's happened in many other countries around the world already, and I don't think the United States is going to be immune to this. Now, I used to work in a bank. I actually, when I first got out of college, a bank was my first job that I used to work in. And I discovered another form of bail-ins, okay? Now, one of my friends there, we were in the management program together, and we went through the training together. His name was Lorenzo Dixon. Now, Lorenzo Dixon, I don't think that was his real name, but he had the whole concept of bail-ins back then. He was an embezzler and embezzled a lot of money from our bank. I was actually interviewed by the FBI because once Lorenzo got away with well over $100,000 back then, this is in the 1980s, $100,000 was a lot of money to embezzle from a bank from a guy that was just in a starting position. Now, how did he do it? Well, he went to just picked random accounts. Everything was manual back then. Computers, yeah, we had them, but they were just beginning, right? Everything was done manually. So he'd go through the file of accounts and he'd pull one out. You know, a lady she had like $60,000 in her account. He took 20,000 of it out for himself, just filled out the deposit slip. He knew he was going to be leaving, so it didn't matter, but this is how he embezzled money. The other way was very clever back then. Okay, so anyways, he worked with a partner. He'd get a job in the bank, right? He'd get into the management training, and at some point you start off in the teller window so you could see how the bank functioned, right? And anyway, so he had a partner that would come in with the check. Now, the check was fake, right? And it was an out-of-state check. And back then, it took 14 days to clear an out-of-state check. 14 days before that check would clear. So they come in, they open up an account with $50 in it, and all of a sudden they bring the check in for $20,000, right? So they deposit a check at Lorenzo's window. And Lorenzo, instead of putting a 14-day hold on, his finger slips and he hits a check, no hold. So now they go to a different branch of our bank and they withdraw the $20,000 because there's no hold on it, and they get away scot-free. They did not catch Lorenzo Dixon at our bank. That was the fifth bank that he hit, though. He was just one of them. So I got interviewed by the FBI because of Lorenzo Dixon doing bail-ins. Well, you see, the FBI is not going to be interviewing anyone when the bail-ins come this way because it's actually legal for the bank to bail in. It says so right when you open your account. As soon as you give them their money, your money is no longer your money, it's now their money, and they're allowed to bail in if they get in financial difficulties. Now, they are required to replace the bail-in money with shares in the bank, but the bank's insolvent. Most banks are already insolvent right now. So the banking system is going to be going down. We're going to see the banks falling over, and this is what makes me nervous. But you see, it's going to be with bail-ins this time. It's going to be your money. So be cautious. Don't keep a lot of money in the bank if you don't have to, and just keep the amount of money you want to lose, right? But you see, now what's happening with the whole system as a whole, though, is they're just printing money. They're just printing more money. They're doing the deficit spending, and that's how they're trying to buy our votes. Now, in the debates, we had the Donald going against Kamala. We had the vice presidential debates, right? Okay, so, but they was not ever talked about the deficit spending, right? The debt was never talked about. Nobody wants to talk about. I would think this would be a major political issue at this point because it's going to blow up on this person's watch. Shouldn't they want to say that we have to do something about, so they at least look like they're doing something about? But I think we're going to get into a sovereign debt crisis, right? Where you have to do something, where you can no longer print money into oblivion, that you're going to have to take some austerity measures just to make it look like you're trying before the whole thing blows up. But my thing is that they're actually cheating us out of our money. They're cheating us out of our money. How do they cheat us out of our money? By printing additional money, right? I believe we have to get back onto a sound money system. Now, how would a sound money system work? Well, let's say we have that 8,000 tons of gold, right? It's in Fort Knox, right? And we take the number of dollars out there that's backed by our 8,000 tons of gold. Now, granted, before you do the reset, you try to confiscate the gold from everybody. A lot of people are worried that their gold's going to be confiscated. Now, was it all confiscated in the 30s, 1930? Did they confiscate all of it? They tried, but no, you can go out and buy gold coins from the 1930s. Why? Because it was never confiscated. People did not give them their gold. I suggest you do not give them your gold when they try to confiscate it from you, but they're going to reset it, right? So they got 8,000 tons. don't think they have any, but maybe they have 8,000 tons of gold still. But they're going to have some gold just to reset against the currency, right? It's got to become redeemable to gain confidence. People are losing confidence in the currency because they're stealing our money. They're cheating us, right? They're not only are they cheating us, they're lying to us. They're lying to us with how well the economy's doing. The economy's not doing well. Not doing well at all, but they like to tell us it is. You go back to, well, you go back to the 1980s, right? What was inflation? Well, it was running rampant, running almost 20% back then, right? And then Volcker came in and raised the rates and crushed it, right? Okay, but you see what they've done is they changed the way they measure inflation. They tell you we're only running 3%. We don't have an inflation problem. It was 9, now we're down to 3. No, it doesn't work that way. It was 20, now we're down to 10. That's really where we're at if you measured the same way as 1980. But you can't handle the way they did it in 1980. So they sugarcoat it for you and they take a few things out of there, make the inflation numbers look good. They're lying to you, right? They're lying to you with unemployment numbers. Unemployment's not running at 3 or 4%. It's up above 10%. If you count the number of people that aren't working, that are of working age and they don't work, we're up above 10%. Now in the Great Depression, got up to 25%. Don't worry, we're going to get there. We're going to get to a depression level again. But they lie to us. They lie to us. They lie to us, they lie to us, and then they cheat us, they cheat us by stealing our money. Now I say we have to get back to sound money. Now me and you, we can be our own central banker and we can go on our own sound money system, only keep as much money in the banks as you want and use real money, gold and silver for your savings. Use it for as soon as you start to make some more money, you put it into gold and silver, and that's how you save your money. You're your own central banker to protect you from the cheating, from the lying, right? But these politicians, we got to get rid of them. They're all bad. They're all corrupt. None of them are doing us any good. They don't want the people to have the power. They think we're too stupid to have the power, so they think that they can decide what's best for us, and they decide how to spend our money that we don't have, but our money that me and you are going to have to pay back. They're the ones spending it, right? And they're the ones making the decisions for us. We have to take the power back. The only way to do that is with the quiet revolution, right? You could have a violent revolution, but I don't recommend that at all. I want a quiet revolution. We take away their purchasing power. We get our purchasing power back by going into sound money. Sound money is great. Every time gold and silver, you got sound money. Every time they print money, what happens to your money? It goes up, it goes up, it goes up. Gold's up like 40% just in the last year. Why? Because they printed 40% more money. Look, the more money they print, the higher price gold's going to go. Now, if I thought they were going to stop printing money, I'd sell all my gold. I wouldn't need it anymore. But you got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself. If you can't afford gold, get some silver. Everybody can afford silver. $32 an ounce. Might cost you $35 to get the physical ounce. So you want it in the physical form. Now, they're going to try to confiscate the gold, probably. I don't know. Maybe not, though. Maybe not. I actually don't think they're going to try to confiscate. Why? Because we don't have gold as money right now. So a lot of people, only one out of every 200 people have any gold to confiscate. What are they going to do? Knock on 200 doors to find that one person? What's that one person going to say? Oh, yeah, I got gold here. Take my gold. No, I don't think they're going to say that. So I'm really not that worried about the confiscation of it. I think we're going to be fine. But I think you have to protect yourself and be your own central banker. That's just my take on what you should be doing right now. You should be taking some of your money out of the banking system, out of the fiat currency, and put it into real money, put it into the gold, put it into silver. But Mike, I really like that Bitcoin stuff. Well, take your shot on Bitcoin. Look, maybe you'll be all right. I really don't know. Bitcoin could go to 100,000. It could also go to 0. I don't know, right? But if that's where you want to take your shot, it might be better than real money. Look at it. In the last 3 years against gold, it's down about 40%. I'm taking my shot with gold and silver. That's real money. That's sound money. It's been around 5,000 years. how long has your Bitcoin been around? About 12, right? I don't even know how long. Let's call it 12 years. Sure, if you bought it at a nickel, you did really well, right? Went from a nickel, went from $1, went up to, what, 60, 70,000, right? You did great. But are you going to be the fool that buys up here and be the bag holder? But Mike, it's going to 1 million. And it may. Then you're a smart genius. But I'm not taking that chance. I'm not buying into the hype. They're hyping this, right? They're hyping it. They bought all the ETFs out. They want the government to get into it, right? I mean, it was supposed to be decentralized. Now they want it to be centralized because they know that's the only hope they have of it not coming back down, right? So they want the government to get involved. I thought it was to get away from the government. Bitcoiners, you guys crack me up, right? But okay, maybe that's the way to go. I'm not saying it's wrong. I gamble in Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. You can make money up and down. Been kind of flat recently, but it's a fun thing to gamble in. So maybe you take your shot there. I'm just telling you, I take my shot with sound money. I take my shot with the gold and silver. I take my shot with that because I know they're not going to balance the budget. They're going to continue to overspend, and eventually this thing blows up. Eventually we hyperinflate, and we may go into that hyperinflationary depression, and your quality of life is going to go way, way down if you're stuck in the dollar system. Get out of the dollar system, get into sound money, so when that hyperinflationary depression comes, your quality of life is going to skyrocket, and you're going to be doing okay, right? Okay, everybody else is going to be just free falling, but you're going to be heading up. You need to get in the real money. That's just my take. I'm Tall Mike. You like this stuff? Give me the thumbs up. Why not? Punch the subscribe button. Get out there, buddy. Have a great day so we can talk again later in the week. Bye-bye now.